So if we could just start by you just each saying who you are and what your relationship is, the three of you.
Me?
Sure.
Oh, go ahead. Margaret Motiff. Grew up in Bayfield. I've known these guys for years. What, 60?
40? 50?
No, 65.
Well, now you want to argue. But okay, so it's really 70. It's really 70.
It is not.
They're going to put a number on it.
Lenny?
Len Erickson. Like I say, born and raised here. I've known these two. This one 71 years and this one 70. So I guess that puts me a little older than they are. Okay.
Old connections.
Old connections, yeah.
So you know each other's secrets.
Big
For sure.
I'm not
Big
saying we
time.
have to get into that.
Well, I
But-
don't mind it.
If we do, we do.
You first.
Me first.
Okay, Bobby.
And Bill?
And I'm Bill Deragon, and I guess they have already said I'm 71. And I've known these kids for a long time,
Yeah.
many years.
Compliment.
And I am Indian heritage, so the first one, I guess. My grandmother and grandfather. I was born and raised in this town. Born in my grandmother's house, right up the street here.
Okay, Bill, when you speak of your grandmother and grandparents, your mom and dad, and I know where you lived about approximately a block here. We're sitting right now on
2 blocks.
two blocks, so we're on First Street here, 105,
104.
104 North First Street, where we're sitting today. You live approximately up past the Catholic Church to the left 1 block, and then about mid-block north of there.
That's where I was born.
Uh-huh.
Where I was raised in my other grandmother's house, my grandmother Belangi, or she was a Deragon, my dad's mother, was straight 2 blocks up, a block up from here, and then 2 houses
Okay.
on same side of the street as the Catholic Church. The house is not there anymore. And it used the first house was Ray Gagne's house, the old one. You remember the old house?
I do.
It was empty for years, and that's where we lived. We always said there were people walking upstairs in there. There were lights in there, and there was never anybody home.
Oh. Sounds good. Bill, then your parents, who are your parents?
My dad was Robert Deragon, no middle name, no middle initial, and he was from the settlement, and that's where we're descended from, the Belangis, the Belangi settlement out in Belangi settlement,
On the Star Route.
right.
Okay.
And my mother was Ethel Gordon, and that descendant of the Cadats, Michael Cadat from the island. That's where we're descended from,
Okay.
on my mother's side and my dad's side.
Your brothers would be?
I
And
have
sisters, I mean?
6. See, there were 7 of us, I think. 5 boys, 2 girls, 2 half-sisters, 2 stepsisters, stepbrother. My dad was married 3 times.
Would you care to break that down, or you want to?
My real mother died when I was 13 years old, and then my dad married a Bonnie, and then
What was her name?
Shig. That's
Shig.
all I knew her by.
Oh,
Shig.
she.
Yeah, she worked at Grunke's for 102 years.
I know her well.
Yeah. Many years. I remember when Vic and she'd open up in the morning sometimes down there. And if Vic was in a bad mood, he would send her home and fire her. And then he'd come up later in the afternoon get her back
Vic, yeah, or
for the
Vic.
next morning.
Depended where Vic was the night before, maybe.
Depended how he felt.
We all know Vic Grumpy pretty well. So Bob was your father, and
Right.
he's descended out of the Bellinger Deragon.
And his dad is buried out in the settlement.
What was his dad's name? Do you recall?
Francis.
Francis Deragon.
Right. That my older brother Bucky was named Francis.
Okay.
Francis Robert.
We just lost Bucky, I think, last year.
Yeah, just last year. And Joey we lost 4 years ago, and Dolly we lost 3 years ago. 2 years ago.
And the remaining brothers are.
Jimmy, Kenny, Larry, and Sonny Sherman.
Okay.
They're my brothers. And then I have Missy Stuhler. That's her name's Ethel. And Donna and Nancy Sherman. She's in Las Vegas. And then there's Patty and Susie. Well, Patty's in charge of the health clinic out at Redcliffe on the res. So then we have one more, but I haven't seen him in years.
So Len, let's move over to the Erickson side of the family. Give us a little background, if you would, please, on your parents and your brothers and sisters, that type of thing.
No, we were a family of five brothers and sisters. There's only two of us left, my oldest brother Jim and myself. Deb passed away 3 years ago. My oldest sister passed away last April, and Richard passed away in '94.
That was Deb and Jerry you're talking about, and
Deb
Richard.
and Jerry, yeah.
Okay.
Then my mother and dad, of course. My dad's been gone now 10 years. He died in 2001. And my mother died quite a few years ago in '71, so it's about 38, 39 years ago. So there's just Jim and I left, but it's awfully funny, Bob, that you asked about this family, or my family, and where we now live. This house originally was built in 1957 by my mother and dad. There's a picture back here on the wall of the original home. And of course, then my dad built this, he basically built this upstairs onto this house. He always maintained that he would never go to a nursing home. Well, he never had the chance to live here. I lived in this home 13 years before my mother passed away. Then Bill and I rented your family home right next door from your mother and dad. Then we moved to the town of Bayfield, where we lived at Compton's for a little better than 15 years. Then we went to Sand Bay, where we spent 25 or 26 years, and we just now came back here last October. So we never left the area, but I think we've made the circle,
Yeah.
you know, from around, and we're glad to be back home.
Len, tell me a little bit about Nellie. I have so many fond remembrances of her being in the yard out here, and of course I was 7 years old in those days.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about Nellie, what you remember about Nellie.
Oh, there's a lot. She was a great leader, Bob. Very quiet. I'll tell a cute story about her. At one time, she was the president of the junior league here in Bayfield, and these women met once a month, whatever. There were about 70 of them back then, quite a few. They always gathered at Morty's. And on junior league night, the men, I don't know if you remember this, were never allowed at Morty's. It was just Morty and these 50, 60 women. No. Or
Good
whatever.
plan.
And
Where are we going with this?
yeah, and the stories that would come out of Morty's from these women after they did their whatever.
Loosened up a little.
Loosened up a little bit. I know my mother enjoyed a martini once in a while. But like I say, the stories that used to come forward, and then right on the corner, of course, lived Millie and Ernie LaPointe. Millie was another member of the junior league. Across the street here was Marion Aiken. She was another junior league member, and my mother was very active in the church, the Catholic Church here. Always got kind of upset though when Father would come and say, "Nell, I'm coming for breakfast," and then right after communion, she'd run down the street and we'd have to try to wrestle up breakfast here because Father was coming for breakfast. Another thing about her, which is really kind of amazing, Ed was mayor here for many years. They didn't have all the wherefore-alls back then that they have now with City Hall and everything, and she used to make a joke, Bob. Ed got paid $50 a month for being mayor. Okay. Well, your dad probably got the same check. Your dad was mayor. $50 a month. Every once in a while, that check would come up missing. They didn't have City Hall clerks, anything like that. So, of course, all the telephone calls came right to the house. Well, Ed was out working, so Ma was here, so she was receiving all the calls, taking these notes. So she felt every once in a while when the check came, it was hers. Yeah. And, well, I don't think Ed argued with her too much when he'd say, "Nell, did my check come from the city?" "Yes." "Ed, it came." "No." And then, "Yeah, I cashed it. Yeah, I spent it." And another fond memory about this neighborhood here, Bob, was right in your house next door. Your mother made the best whipped jello in the world. I don't know if you know that.
Jello.
We used to neighbor back and forth. They neighbored back and forth. They, cooked a lot. You made remark a lot about the barbecued chicken I used to do in the backyard. I still use the same recipe, Bob.
Do you?
Mm-hmm. They don't make it
I was
anymore.
hoping we'd have that for a little snack here today.
Well,
If this gets to be a long affair today,
Well, we
might
have
get the cooker going yet.
we have something.
Okay. No.
And I'm getting kind of off the track here. He asked me
Sorry.
about my
Great.
family, or what I remembered about my mother. Like I say, she was an excellent mother. Like everybody is going to say that about their mothers. But my mother ruled with a velvet glove. She didn't raise her voice too much, and she was quite short. Ed was 6'3", she was 5'2". But when she entered a room, you knew she was there. And
She had a presence.
very much so. And it was just, of course, like a lot of other people, you lose your family way too early. If I would have known then what I know now, my mother passed away at 57. Richard passed away at 56, and who would ever thought that Deb was going to pass away at 53? Maybe it's all for the best that you don't know those types of things, but all in all, we're glad to be back. I'm glad to be back in Bayfield, and we hope to do good.
We'll get back into Nellie a little bit in a few seconds, and Ed and the Hebert family, and those are be fun little topics. And now I want to just kind of spend a little attention with Margie over here, Mitchell Motiff.
Yes.
And
yes.
I always crucify that word by saying motif because I know that's incorrect.
It's Motiff.
Motif.
Yes.
Motif.
Yeah.
Okay. Margie, tell us a little bit about George and Jay moving into the area and you growing up around here a little bit.
Okay, well, my family lived in Drummond, Knowles Cabins on Highway 13, almost to Ashland, Washburn, Ashland. When we lived in Ashland, my dad took a vote with my mother and the kids. The kids and my dad voted to move to Bayfield. My mother voted against, so we did. We outnumbered her. We moved to Bayfield in 1947. My dad was involved in the CCC camps, and that's why we lived in Drummond. He was like a foreman, and my mom was a homemaker. I have an older brother, Jim, and a younger sister, Mary. And we moved into the old Fred Allen house. I think he was a warden,
Okay.
maybe. And it was across from Kent's.
Yeah, David Galazin presently, that was the old
Owns
Kent,
it.
Richard Kent house there.
Yes, and next to Grandma and Grandpa Compton.
Right. Beautiful little white home on that little, tucked neatly into that little hillside.
Right. And when we moved here, the house was remodeled, and behind the house going to Compton's, there were 2 cabins. We lived in the upper cabin until the house was fixed up. Then, my dad was a forester. And
By trade?
Well, kind of. He
Okay.
was a woodsman.
Okay.
He ran a sawmill on Madeline. He became involved in the Evergreen Tree Corporation. Then they wanted to open a shop, so Mom and Dad read about antiques. And the 7-hole outhouse from the Catholic school was no longer used, and old Steve Sullivan and my dad hauled it to where the shop became.
On the highway there.
Yes. And Steve remodeled the shop, put on an addition. My dad was a good antique hound. They had antiques, gifts, smoked fish, small potted evergreens. My mom made jams and jellies, and we had a little gel house, and it was simple living.
I remember driving into there and all the bright things that were on the wall and on the shelves in there. How long did they operate that particular little shop?
Probably 25 years. And coming in the back door of the shop, above the door, was the Indian tribal drum from Redcliffe.
I remember that now.
Do you remember? And my dad sold it, and I would love to know who bought it.
Well, that was a
Real tribal drum.
what an heirloom that would be to have for the tribe now.
Yes. Did you know that, Bill?
No, that I did not.
I've got 3 pictures of the drum hanging in the shop.
Those should be recorded to posterity.
They really should be. So, but it was just we all worked. That's what kids.
Did you work in the shop yourself then, or did you get one of those wonderful jobs at the A&W root beer stand in those days, or?
That was my sister.
Oh,
Yes, we all had to take turns working in the shop. And Kermit Hanson rigged up a bell that when the shop door was opened, a bell would ring in her house.
oh,
So then you'd run down.
and see who was there.
Yes. And my dad always told people, park down by the shop so it looks busy.
That's a-
Old George Mitchell had a little gimmick there, eh?
He did.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
did. So,
It's a wonderful story. Bill, let's go back to your earliest days in Bayfield here, and let's go into probably went to the Catholic school, I would presume.
I went to the
Tell us a
Catholic-
little bit about those wonderful years under the direct supervision of.
They were beautiful years. Church 5 days a week, 6 days a week.
Do I detect sarcasm in this?
We were all very good Catholics until we hit 16.
Oh,
Yes, Sister Rose Angela was a principal when I went through school
Get
here.
up and get it.
And I missed it, but they used to have the high school there. And but when I was going through, 8th grade was the last grade.
what year did you enter school over there, Bill?
I couldn't tell you.
Probably in the 50s?
Oh, it's in the 50s, Bob. I was.
Let's see, yeah, you'd be.
I went to Sheboygan in 58, 57, 58, and I stayed with my aunt down there for
How old
3
were you then?
Well, when I came home in 68, I turned 21.
Okay, so you're.
So 50, I was 18, 17. I didn't graduate from this school. I went to it, but I didn't graduate from it.
Bill, when you first entered the Catholic school over there, tell us about what it was like in first grade, and if you can recall. Tell us a little bit about. Yeah, I think people in the next generation should know what it was like to go to a parochial school in Bayfield.
The first, well, the school now is condominiums. But when I was going through school up there, the first, second, and third were in the small room, so we had a little baby desk. And Sister Mac Cynthia was our
Sister Max.
yeah, and she was a fantastic teacher. Now then I hit 4th, 5th, and 6th. Sister Frederica was a triumph. You didn't do anything out of the way. You could be sitting there, 3-corner rulers, but most of you got it behind the head.
Pay attention. That type of thing.
You didn't have to be doing too much neither. And Sister Rose Angela was a principal, and she had the 7th and 8th grade upstairs. And there were quite a few of my classmates graduated from school up here.
Bill, how many kids were in the school in that very time approximately, would you guess?
Oh, we had a
coffee
full
tables,
through. I think in my class there had to have been 20, and we weren't all Indian. I know it was a tribal. What do you call it? Parochial.
More native children there possibly than.
Yeah, but it wasn't all that. The kids from Redcliffe could either go to the public school, Protestant school, public school, or the Catholic school, and the bus would bring them and leave them off. And LaPointe, Carol LaPointe was one of my classmates, and she went to Catholic school up here.
Okay.
And Joni Sandstrom. I went to school with all those kids.
Okay.
Polly Haskins. Yes, I'm not old.
sure. Yeah.
Well, that's a wonderful story. Who did you chum around with when you were in school? Did you have any best friends or
No, I just trying to survive.
get through that whole thing? Eh?
Best friend, let's see, the cadets, but they were the different cadets. They were the cadets on the other hill.
Okay.
The cadets that my relative cadets lived on this hill, then the other cadets lived on the other hill. Rena, Paul, that bunch of cadets were from the other hill.
this was always known as Catholic Hill,
right,
and that was
Sweet Hill.
Sweet Hill over there, so.
And down at where my great grandmother lived, by the tanks,
By the old
yeah,
fuel tanks.
where Maggie's is now. That was my grandmother's house, great grandmother's house,
What was her name?
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth.
And she was originally from Odena. So that's where our heritage started in Odena, Kanat heritage. They say it's from the island, which we are, both tribes are from the island.
Sure.
They just split. And I have relatives in both places. So
They say the story was in 1854 that the
So we're neutral here in Bayfield.
yeah, well, the Catholic people went to Catholic faith went to Redcliffe.
Catholics went to Redcliffe and Protestant went to Modena.
Yeah.
That's the way they say it went, but there's a lot of Catholics there too.
Are you tied into the Chief Buffalo lineage then too? And
And the opposite side of the blanket, yes.
oh, okay. So,
Yes, it wasn't a legal marriage. But yes, we are tied into them.
okay. Lenny, let's go back to Nellie. I'm fascinated with Nellie. I can never get enough learning about
Okay.
Nellie and the Hebert family a little bit. My great recollections of her were that hearty laugh
Yep.
and just a wonderful personality. Were the whole Hebert family kind of full of fun like that? And
Yeah, well, you know, it's really kind of remarkable now, Bob, that you want to know more about the Hebert. We are having a family reunion that's going to run a week, the 15th of August through the 21st. And the biggest part of those people that'll be coming is from my mother's side, the Heberts. You remember Leonard?
yeah,
Okay. My mother raised him. My grandfather, Fred Hebert, was killed at Furlock's camp. Okay. He was a logger.
oh,
Let-
the townships here.
That's right. He was
About when would that have been, Lenny?
Well, he was 34 years old. It had to have been in 1928, 29, in that area somewhere. Leonard was only 6 months old. My mother came from a family of 9. That left Grammy Hebert to raise these kids. They were all quite young. My mother was one of the older kids. So my mother and dad took Len and they raised him. I looked at Leonard more as a brother than an uncle. I was named after him. And he lived with us. He went through college, he went through high school, graduated here. He went through college in Superior, went on to the service. Ended up, through his teaching career, started out as a coach when he graduated from Superior, and then ultimately ended up in Mosinee, Wisconsin, where he became the superintendent of schools, retired, and came back to Bayfield. He
Became mayor too.
became mayor here. So there is no living siblings of my mother's family. There's only one left in my dad's family. One sister, that's Clara Sanderson in Washburn. So the ones that'll be coming to the reunion in July is all first cousins. We have rented the pavilion for 2 nights, Bob, for a slideshow that Chautauqua will be putting on. Your dad is one of the invited guests, either along with you and Heidi or the both of you, and I have something kind of special for you. I've got it right here in the house, but I'm not ready to give it to you. But we found it in all the diggings up of pictures and whatnot, and I couldn't believe it when I came across it, but You'll get it. Well, like I said, all the kids now that'll be coming for the reunion, both sides are all cousins. And when I started to think about the reunion, I never realized that our family was so spread out all over the country. That a lot of these kids never met one another. I have met them. I know where they are and where they place, but they hadn't met one another. My sister left here. Jerry left here when she was 18.
The Shanemans will be here then?
The Shanemans will be here. The reunion is going to be based on the Erickson, Hebert, Shaneman, Brissett, and I took those names from my brothers and sisters, or my two sisters. So it's going to engulf around 400 people.
Whoa, you've got a big schedule.
We have a big schedule. There's golfing trips for everybody. There's going to be trolling trips, the slideshow, the formal dinner at the pavilion. Everybody will be taken on the outer island to Rocky Island for a picnic on the last day.
You're welcome up on my property anytime there.
I just thought
mean,
I just thought we'd just move in and just take it over.
Yeah, well, what's mine is yours, so.
Yeah. So, like I say, and I'm looking forward to that.
Maybe I'll get a ride on the outer island that day.
You'll get a ride on the outer island.
John, we'll probably have to get there and maybe do a little shoot for that deal. That'd be fun.
Yeah, it would be. There's a lot of history there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know Tom Mitchell.
Yep.
Tom is the one that's going to be doing our slideshow.
Good.
From Chautauqua, and I've been gathering up pictures, and I mean pictures. I have family pictures that are coming in. I haven't got all of them yet, but looking forward to that. The reunion and seeing a lot of folks that that we hadn't seen for quite a while.
It'll be great to get you all together.
There's even a couple coming from. You asked about my mother. My dad's homeland, of course, was Norway. My grandparents came from Oslo. My grandparents on my mother's side came from Ottawa, Canada. There's a couple coming from there. And I found out that my dad still has living relatives in Norway. And I talked that over with Chris Patterson because he goes there all the time, we never knew this, but we're trying, Jody, my niece, has got the flag of Oslo. They were all provinces over there, so each city had its own flag. And Chris gave this to me last year. He went to the internet and he came back with that. And I didn't know this, but you can have stamps made with your pictures on it or whatever. So I gave that anyway to my niece. For the final invitation for the reunion, I'd like to use that if she can get them. And have you ever seen those, Mark? Stamps with people's names and whatever.
Oh, wonderful.
You never seen that?
No, I haven't.
I never knew anything about it until Joe had mentioned it to me.
That's interesting.
And I just thought it'd be kind of an added.
Well, it sounds like you got a wonderful event coming here, a week's worth, and
One other thing, Rita Vandevander did all the drawings for the invitation. I think she's fabulous.
you just went first class all out here then.
Yeah. So if you can visualize a invitation, there's 4 windows in it. And she depicted all 4 nationalities and drew on that. I don't know if you've been in the casino in the last month or so, but in their old dining room, she has painted, I couldn't believe it the other night when I seen it, a picture of the ice caves. It's just absolutely beautiful. Just absolutely beautiful.
Very, very talented.
Very talented lady.
Lenny, on your dad's side, was it your grandfather then that came from Norway or great grandfather?
My grandfather,
And
Martin.
what were their names and when did they come?
Okay, that's kind of a story in
Yeah.
itself. Martin Erickson and Christine. Now that was my dad's mother and dad. But when my grandfather came here in 1901, he was 18 years old. He brought 2 sisters with him. Nettie Anderson Wilson from the Rittenhouse Inn. That
Okay.
was the Wilson house. My grandma's sister. And I used to ask Grandpa when we were younger, Grandpa, how come you brought two sisters with you when you came? He was 18, I guess they were 17, 16, something like that. He said, I loved them both and I couldn't figure out which one I wanted to marry, so I brought them both.
Oh, I see.
And he always carried that same story. Everybody heard the same thing when they found out that Grandpa came here with two sisters. Well, it must have been true.
Yeah.
It must have been a true story.
So he finally zeroed in on Christine
He
then?
married Christine, and
What became of the second sister then?
well,
Probably married somebody here, right?
yeah, she was Nettie Anderson Wilson. I never knew much about him, but the priest, Billy Green, that was her son, Father Green.
Okay.
And Ann.
Anne was the sister. Yeah, so there was.
I met Billy, but I've never met Ann.
Yeah,
Ann was really nice.
Anne.
Yes, I remember.
Bill and I,
Ann.
about 3 years ago, 4 years ago maybe, before Bill went into the nursing home in Superior, we were in Rice Lake, and it just happened to be Easter. And we went to church that morning, and Father Green was there. And so I suppose after a fashion, we are related one way or the other.
There's a connection there.
There's a connection there.
Yeah.
But that was the story that Grandpa told everybody, that he couldn't decide which one he wanted to marry, so he brought them both over with them. So that was,
Wonderful story.
yeah.
Bill, I have you have a lot of photos, and I have a lot of photos at home.
One of the most interesting photos I ever saw in my life was one, and you must have been like in about 4th or 5th grade, and you were a part of the Bayfield Future 5 basketball team. Tell me a little bit about playing basketball in those
God.
days. Would you go back and talk about that horrific period in time? It's the cutest shot I've ever seen.
Well, I'll tell you what, Bob. If the hoop was right there and the ball was that big, I'd miss it. An athlete, I was not. Had all I could do to probably put one foot in front of the other. Basketball, no, yeah, but
You were a cheerleader.
yeah, we had to
And
care.
so was I.
So with
Tell us a little bit about that move from that basketball court through high school. A little
through
bit
high
more.
school, okay.
And
now-
you guys can share some information here too. This
okay.
is fun.
This is, I don't know, 3 years running. I wasn't the first guy that was ever the first cheerleader in the Bayfield High School basketball team. Harith was the first one.
Ronnie
Ronnie Harith, and then
Jimmy Edwards.
Jimmy Edwards,
and Bill Hauser too.
Billy Hauser,
Yeah.
and I don't know where I fall in. I must fall in back because those guys were quite a bit older than I was.
Well, my husband always said the reason girls from Bayfield didn't get married soon, our skirts were down below our ankles. It was, as you will see, with my cheerleading outfit that's in the museum. So,
Oh yeah, those were all.
it was
But as far this Future 5, trust me, it's still in the future. I can't. No, an athlete I wasn't. I was interested in basketball, but as far as playing it, forget it.
Yeah.
Forget it.
Who are some
I can still see the uniforms. They were green and white. We were
Green.
Well, yeah, we were Future 5.
Five.
We never got into the red and white. I did, but it was a cheerleading outfit. It was not a basketball
But-
uniform.
didn't you play games in the old courthouse?
Now she's really giving it away.
Yes.
Tell us about those old
so-
games,
I
Lenny.
remember going to
There.
That's
You
where.
were-
In the old courthouse?
Yeah.
Yes.
Compton.
Do you remember
Right.
it only had
Yeah.
4 or 5 levels of seats? You know, it
And
didn't have
straight up.
straight up. I'm surprised we didn't break our necks.
That would be the National Park Service building now.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah.
did they even have heat in there in those days and
Oh,
stuff?
yes, yes, they had heat.
If you went down and threw the coal in the furnace, maybe. It
We
was
were there after prisoners.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Who was the coach then in them days then?
You know who I
Orchestra.
actually
Orchestra
orchestra,
was there.
and I actually think when C.T. Larson came here,
Yes, he did. Yes,
Yes.
he did.
Was
He
the
coached.
coach.
He was the
Yes, he
coach.
did.
He was the
yeah,
coach.
I remember now. See, we're all
And we had gym classes.
in that
There.
place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was before 1953. In 1953 was the year they built the gym on the.
Built the gym onto the
Dr.
school.
Moody and that group were on the school board, and Bob Larson and that
Yes.
bunch, and they built that new addition on the west wing.
Thank
and
God
then-
when you mention them, those names right there, Bob, I can just see those men.
yeah,
I can just see them.
I remember the PWs there.
prisoners of war.
Yeah, the German PWs.
Boy, you talk about having it made back in those days. They would just go up to the farms and they'd work and.
Yeah, they'd
I don't.
work on
I
the
don't
farm.
think anything was ever locked up, was it?
Oh, they,
Nothing was locked up.
There was no Guantanamo for them
No, I
then.
don't think so.
the
I think
court,
half the young women in Bayfield fell in love with them guys.
that's where they had that outside tennis court, right? Then they put wires up, and that's where the prisoners were held. And
Prisoners. I mean,
there were well, we had about 30 of them.
yeah.
Did you ever talk to them at all? Or?
Oh yeah,
Was there even a fence around there?
yeah. There was
Do you
a fence
remember?
around there. Yes,
Yes.
there was.
And there were guards.
Oh, that must have been something.
I don't even. I don't remember seeing any guards.
The
I
guards
really don't.
probably watched them come and go downtown.
Provided bus service downtown.
They had to
used to
probably
get
go
paid.
chase them. Oh yeah, I'm sure
They
they.
got paid for picking those strawberries.
Yeah.
Apples.
Yeah.
Beans.
They were probably.
Cent and a half. Grandma,
They were
grandma,
they were
Grandma
probably all-
Grandma Erickson used to pay $1.50 a
These were German people.
Yeah, and
Right.
they were probably all sad when
Yeah.
the war was over and they had
Had
to
to
go
go
home. I think they had it made here. I really do.
Did any of them ever stay that you can recall, or?
Did they, Mark?
My mom and dad rented out one of our cabins to a to a German family for the summer, but they were real reclusive. But they spoke German, little bit of English, and stayed to themselves.
Yeah, they were probably afraid to go out into society at that. There was a
Well,
lot of hard feelings in those days.
Yeah, I'm
They
sure.
were in Bayfield. I mean, people,
That probably rested their minds, Really.
it did.
It did. It did.
They were in Bayfield.
Yeah. Yeah, they probably did.
Well, we got a couple fun stories about the school. Maybe we'll go back to that and back to the Eberts in a little bit. But
Okay.
I know that Bill and Len, you went on with your lives, and then all of a sudden you're in the bar business. And I know, Lenny, you probably started the bar business. Tell us a little bit about your work career. Let me go that route first. And I know I worked with you personally down at the Bayfield Inn with Fred LaPointe and that group and Mary Gordon.
God, we were there the day it burned.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that whole scenario there.
The hotel first, or the?
Yeah, whatever you want. Just make sure we
What's
cover the
what-
burning too.
Okay,
Why
well, the
don't you
hotel.
choke herring first?
You choked the herring. Let's go to the hotel first.
Yeah,
The only reason I remember the Bayfield Inn burning so well, it burned on April 5th, 1963, and why I know that's the way it was is because that was my mother and dad's wedding anniversary. It was a Sunday afternoon. Bertha Neese, Mary Gordon, Stella Roy, myself, and I don't know, Carol
Gail Hayden.
Gail Hayden, Carol, not awful now.
Quaid.
No. But anyway, Chick said around, I can tell you what we were serving. They
Chick
were,
is
Chick Norwell, Chick and Evelyn Norwell. They're the folks that owned the hotel at that time. They were great for serving family style on Sunday. That's what they did. They served family style. That one particular Sunday, we were having chicken and dumplings. The dining room was full of people.
how many people would be in the dining room there?
Well, that dining room, you know, that's just funny. Ron just the other day showed me a picture of the old dining room with the red checkered tablecloths and the whole thing. I think it would seat about 70, 80.
I used to waitress there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this day, this Sunday, the fire whistle blew. Nobody said anything. All of a sudden, Chick came in and he said, "We have a fire in the hotel. But don't worry, just keep right on it going." So we just kept right on serving. All of a sudden, behind the stoves that face Gunry's house, I said, "You know, it's getting pretty active outside." You know, there's an awful lot of people. Don't worry, Chick said, they'll get it out. Well, they had that big fireplace, that big stone fireplace in the lobby.
Yeah.
That's where it started, in the attic somewhere up there, but that's where it was. But now in the wintertime, and this was in April, Morty Baldwin lived there, Stella, Roy lived there,
And Frizzell,
Phil,
Tom and Rock.
Roxanne.
a lot of people lived in the upstairs on the 3rd floor. Well, Stella started, she had 2 beautiful parakeets. She didn't care about her clothes. She wanted her parakeets. And she tried to get upstairs to get them. And Chick and Evelyn had just laid a red nylon rug. Well, that was just like a big funnel up there. When it hit that rug, it just went right down the hall. And Chick still maintains that we can get this fire out. Keep on serving. So, keep on serving. Everybody's really walking around, and finally, the water started to run down the walls in back of the stoves. And I said, well, I don't know about you guys, but I think we should quit serving and, number one, get the people out of the dining room. So the waitresses went out, and they, if you remember that first level, they knew 4 or 5 steps down to the lobby and then out the front door. I said, you know, it's closer for that dining room people to come through this kitchen and out the back door than it is to be running. So they brought some of them through that way, and some did go out the front door. Well, by the time we got outside, get the fire out, the whole roof was ablaze. And all I can still hear is Chick saying, keep serving, never mind, they'll get it out. You know, don't worry about it. Well, there was plenty of worry. About 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock that afternoon, all there was is the big hole. The Bayfield Inn was gone, and if you were there, and if you remember it, it wasn't only that burned. They moved everything across the street to the
Lodge.
to the press office. That roof caught fire. The Gunry's house roof caught fire. Everything started to burn around it, and they brought in, I don't know.
Ashland coming in.
Ashland came in. If you were there, Bob, or if you remember anything about it, when they ran the hoses and the pumps right down to the lake. You know, they were pumping water. But like I say, by 4 or 5 o'clock, it was just, the hotel was gone. You know?
I stood on the corner by Grunky's there where the old Pageant Inn used to sit and where they had the old phone booth. And I looked at that, and I was 12 years old.
And you remembered it.
Yeah.
You do remember it.
I could see the flames coming out of there, and
I had-
beautiful green, and it had the green shutters, and it was
Yeah.
a beautiful, beautiful building. Formerly known as the old Burt Bracken Hotel and
Yeah.
Bayfield Inn, and it's been there. It was a landmark for many,
Oh, my
many years.
God. It was a terrific loss to Bayfield when that hotel burned.
So is the current Bayfield Inn then what was rebuilt after that fire?
I
Was
think
there
it was
something in
about
between?
2 or 3 years later. Was it maybe not quite that long? You remember the hotel was built by a corporation.
Right.
Madeline Island What was the name of
If I
it?
recall my dad saying
What did
that
they say?
they were selling debentures in those days.
Debentures and redevelopment stuff.
Everybody had an investment in the community, and
Yeah.
there was a, But I don't know who spearheaded that. Was that Chick Norwell that
I think
spearheaded that?
I think it was Chicken Evelyn.
Yeah.
I opened the Bayfield when it was brand new.
Were you on that team then, or?
Yeah, and it was New Year's Eve. I don't quite remember the year, maybe 65 when they finished it. They opened it on New Year's
Was
Eve.
Chick running it then?
Chick and Evelyn were there for a very short time, and then Sig Dahlquist,
That's right.
he came with his wife. Chick and Evelyn went to Duluth and ran
Athletic.
the athletic club. Okay, yeah, you remember that? The athletic club.
Then, when were Okerstroms there?
Okerstroms were there in the old
In the
Bayfield,
old
in the old,
Before Chick.
before Chick and Evelyn. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Before Chick and Evelyn. That
And Lenny, what was your job at the inn?
I was a cook.
You were the cook. okay.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they say chef. Bill says cook. All we do is worry about.
Chef.
All we,
Semantics.
all we do is worry about putting out a decent dinner. You know.
Well, where I had a lot of fun there was when I was like in '66. I was junior in high school, and my dad said I had to work, and so one of the jobs I fortunate to get was working with you and Fred LaPointe and Mary,
Yeah, Mary.
and Sig, and I forget Sig's wife's name. She was a very nice lady.
Sig.
Remember Sig?
Marguerite.
Was her last name Bergson?
No. That's a different lady. But
Okay.
remember, Sig Dahlquist had his wife there, and I painted the
Marge.
Marge. And I painted the whole basement down there for him. And then my other duties on weekends were to go up and do the dishes. And I never had such hot water in all my life.
Oh yeah.
Remember those in the corner of that kitchen there,
Yes,
where
I can
that
see
big that big old.
I can see it. You know.
And the plates would come out of there so hot you couldn't even handle them.
You know, Chicken Evelyn. Evelyn was an excellent business lady. She really was. She was kind of hard to work for, but you did it her way, and that was it. But there again, I always maintained that she was paying the bills so she could have it her way. She was very concerned about this community and that hotel. I don't know if you might remember this. In the wintertime, when we'd go out of town or there was a basketball game, when the buses came back to town, that's where you were taken. You were taken to the hotel. You remember the 50-cent hamburgers? She would put a jukebox in the dining room, and all of us kids, 60, 70 kids, running around her dining room making a big mess. And the parents then would come to the hotel and pick up the kids. What a wonderful control she had. Like, she made sure everybody got home.
Safely.
There was nobody running crazy. And that was really kind of neat. Evelyn did a fine job. I don't know if you remember this, Bob, but you know, on a fish fry night, you worked there. It was nothing to serve a couple, 200-300 people.
Really.
They came from all over. Do
Ironwood.
you remember the fish plates that she used
Yes.
for? They were
Yes.
shaped like a fish. I wish when I left there, just like when I
I
left.
have one.
You have one?
No.
I should have taken a couple of those the day the place was burning down. Like I should have taken the fish planks when I worked for Lee Russell on Madeline Island
Right.
that were made here at Allwood. But I didn't. And but I mean, what keepsakes those would have been for the for today.
Heirlooms.
We know that people used to wait. If they couldn't be served on those plates, those fish plates, they would actually sit and wait, or sit in the bar or wherever they sat. They didn't want to be served on an ordinary dinner plate. They wanted those fish plates.
There were oak planks in those days. weren't
Yeah, sure. It was just they were.
How did he cook them anyway, Lenny? Did he broil them or?
All Lee Russell's fish was broiled. I worked for him for 3 or 4 years. He always maintained.
That's at the beach club on the island.
Yeah, he would not allow you to take a knife to his fish. He used to come over to Bedine's every single day, and he would hand pick his fish because he served the whole fillet. We never cut a piece of fish. And I have a menu around here someplace. Do you know what a fish dinner was back in 1965 to 1970 in that area? $1.50.
Wow.
Well,
Tell about my sister
Oh,
working, Mary, working at the hotel. with
now, this
Len.
was in the new hotel. This is after the new hotel was built. Well, kind of foolish kids. We were foolish. I'd like to think Mary was more foolish than I was, but there was a dumb waiter in the kitchen that would serve us. It only went to the basement and then to the first floor. Well, she went down there one day. She went down the basement to get something.
Prime rib.
Prime rib. And she rang the buzzer and it came up. Dumb waiter came up. No prime rib, but Mary was in the dumb waiter. And we laughed about that for many years. You would have thought, what would have happened if she got caught between floors? I mean, what do we know about taking apart a dumb waiter?
Couldn't get her
Or
out
better
of it.
yet, calling somebody and telling them what we did would have been worse.
Right.
Or asking for help. But we've laughed about that for many years when she got wrote up. No prime rib. That door flew open and there's Mary all cramped in that dumb waiter.
Bill, we know that you came back, and from what I understand it, you were in the armed services and things like that. Tell us, can you just finish up like your high school days where you worked, and then take us through that armed services period?
Well, after my mother died, I went to school up here. Then I went to school in Duluth. I went to West Junior High. Then I went to Denfeld for a while. And then after that, I went down to Sheboygan, and I worked down there at Lever and Shoe Company and a paper box company.
Okay.
And they were a lot of fun. And pay wasn't very good, but
Yeah, this is about the years 1960.
piecework, 25 cents a pair of shoes.
Oh wow!
But you
What
could
did
make,
do?
you
I
could
mean,
make good money.
What did you do with it? What
Would
was
you
your
edge
job?
them? On the edge of the shoes, you take bleach or whatever, and then you edged them, and you blackened them. Or if you're working with white bucks, or then you had a machine that you edged them with.
For future generations, Bill, tell us what white bucks were. I don't think a lot of people will know what they were.
White bucks.
Everybody knows what white bucks were.
Yeah, we know that, but I don't think
Beautiful
kids in the
shoes.
future. Maybe you'll tell us what they were.
What were they? What were
They
they?
were just a plain old a suede shoe,
Okay.
That's true.
and
Suede.
they were white, beautiful white. They didn't last. They weren't white very long, but they were beautiful when
Were
you
they-
first bought them.
When you bought them or when you purchased them, did you use them just then for dress or did everybody just wear white bucks?
They were just wore them.
They just wore 'em.
Everybody
With
just wore white
jeans.
bucks.
They were real popular for a long
Yeah.
time, weren't they?
Yeah.
We should have saved them.
With red soles.
I had a pair.
With the red soles.
Oh,
Huh?
yes.
I had a pair.
White,
Did you have a pair?
Oh, yeah.
White bucks had red soles.
Red soles, exactly. Yeah.
They had red soles.
Really?
White bucks, red soles.
God, you are old.
When my son went to England, Buzz came back with a pair of blue bucks.
Oh,
Blue.
That
Blue
was
suede
the
shoes.
Huh?
Did you ever hear
blue
of blue?
suede
Blue,
shoes.
yeah.
Carnaby
White.
Street.
Yes.
So,
And then
So, Bill, you're a young man, and you're rapidly going through the shoe building process there. How long did you last in that business, and then what did you do next?
well, before I also came back to Bayfield. Before I went into service.
Okay.
And worked at Allwoods. Everybody worked at Allwoods. I mean, big bucks there. We made really good money. I think,
Tell them what your dad told you.
he, Friday night, we got paid on Friday nights, you know, and at that time, 18-year-old, we could drink. So we'd all go out Friday night, out at Dolly's Ifco's and have a couple beers.
A couple.
Onion River Tavern.
A couple.
Onion River.
So that Saturday morning, I said, Dad, I said, I'm not going to work today. He says, if you're old enough to drink, you're old enough to go back to work the next morning.
How long did you?
Boy, you went back to work.
But how long were you at Allwood? 1 year?
I didn't stay at all. I was there maybe 6 months and I went to service.
There. Now get on to the service part then.
The work was just, for the money you got, was unbelievable. I mean, but then service was no better. When I went into service in 1960, I think my pay was $86 a month, but I always had money. At the end of the month, you always had money. Then
Oh, I'm sorry. Where did you go to boot camp and stuff like that?
I was drafted in '60. My grandfather was JP, and he also head of the draft board. And he put our names in, mine and Larry's.
Oh.
And we were shipped off to Minneapolis. And,
Your brother Larry.
yeah, Larry didn't make it, but I did. And I didn't come back home. They shipped me right out the same day. I was sworn in the same day. I went to Fort Carson, Colorado, where I got my uniform. Then they shipped me off to El Paso, Texas, where I took my basic.
Was this the Army, Bill?
I was in the Army, yeah.
Okay.
And some guy named Elvis Presley was about 6 months ahead of me in there.
Oh, is that right?
Some guy there.
I remember when he was.
Yeah, he was, they said he was 4 barracks away from where I was, but I never seen him. And then when I went to Germany, he was also over there. Didn't see him there neither. I was on the medics.
Wasn't
and
he
was
just? Was he just in for one term, Bill? 4
Yeah,
years?
he was there. He was drafted too.
No, but I mean, did he only put 4 years in the service?
He put 2.
2 years.
That's all he put. When you were drafted, you had 2 years.
Okay.
Then I got out and worked at Allwood again.
And that brings us to about 1963, 62.
62. Then I also went back to Allwood naturally, and I worked there for 2 weeks. I said, Dad, I can't do it. The work is way too hard, so I went back in the service where it was nice and easy. That's when Mr. Kennedy took over.
Okay.
And he started giving us pay raises, and finally we got up there to where you made a decent living in the service, and that's why there's so many people in the service this day. Because Mr. Kennedy is the one that started giving us pay raises to keep people in the service.
So how long did you stay in then?
I stayed in 13 years. I was there, well, when Vietnam started, I put in for Vietnam, but I never got it. And then I got out. I said, that's enough. I figured that if I made it that long, it was time to get out.
Well, that Vietnam
That's probably why you're here today.
That's probably why I'm here today, because I didn't go over.
That Vietnam campaign ended, I think, in 76.
67, 68, 69. I was in Germany when, the second time I was in Germany, when Vietnam really started getting bad. And we were a police action then. And a lot of my friends wanted to go, so I figured, well, if they wanted to go, I want to go too. So we all put in for it. And I was one of the ones that didn't go, and they all went, and they never came back.
What year was that, Bill?
That was in 60, about 67, 68.
That was the peak.
Yeah. That's when it first started getting hot. And then they gyroed me back to the States. Our whole company came back to the States, and we took over a training company in North Carolina.
Oh, I see.
So
Interesting.
that's when I got out, right after that.
John, can we just take a 2-second break?
Sure.
I'm gonna have the potty and
Sure.
Oh, flush the toilet.
You notice,
Well, like my wife.
you notice there's no doors here.
Well, I didn't want to flush because of noise.
Why?
How long
Well,
have
they
you,
do it in All in the Family.
Bill, get some coffee. How long have you been doing?
And I'd like to share some of your experiences at Rocky over the years. I know that's a special place to you guys.
Yeah, it is. Well, this one year, Marg and Bill and I, Tom, Buzzy,
Buzz, Mary,
Annie, we all went to Rocky Island.
And who are those people?
That was Mark Buzzy is Margie's son, and Annie,
my
Okay.
daughter.
her daughter. But anyway, while we were there, it was Bill's birthday. So I decided we'd make a birthday cake. And we did. But I didn't know that the stove wouldn't light. It was just, I had this cake ready to go.
Just the pilot.
Yeah, just the pilot light. I just couldn't get the stove to light, the oven to light up. So I threw the cake in the oven. Well, and about 3 or maybe even longer hours later, lo and behold, that cake was done. It baked. Well, then, we had a few drinks, you know how happy hour went out on Rocky Island, It was either 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and if you made it to the 6 o'clock one, you were really good.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this cake baked. We came up with the idea that we should have developed a cookbook and named it the Pilot Light Cookbook. And like Mark just said, it would have been geared towards senior citizens because you could have baked the cake or mixed the cake in the morning and then taken a 2-hour nap. Or you could have got on the BART bus and went to Walmart.
Your cake probably to California.
And then when you got home, this cake would be done. And another fond memory of the island trip was we were getting ready to come home. And you always have a lot of leftover food. And I don't know if we were waiting for the boat or whatever, but we had this cast iron frying pan. And God only knows what we put in there, in that cast iron frying pan. And there's pictures around here someplace of the three of us sitting with forks and eating out of this cast iron frying pan. I can't even tell you what we were eating because we took everything out of the room.
Whatever was left over.
Yeah.
And it was not good.
And
Not too good.
And then when Mel was there, Bob, well, he's gone now, and I don't think the DNR is going to come and arrest me, but I have to tell you this little story.
Mel is
My uncle.
Uncle Mel Erickson.
Uncle Mel Erickson, my dad's brother. Smoked fish. Now you know the refrigerator. He smoked his fish in the refrigerator. So he had this ragged old net. Him and Bill would get up early in the morning, very early in the morning, gather up these Hilux bottles, get in this rowboat and row out there and set this net, and those Hilux bottles were floating around. And then about 4 hours later, they would go back and they'd lift this net. But they had to do this before the DNR was coming. Or
Early in the morning.
Early in the morning, every time we seen a boat, we would almost crawl into the sand. But we always had enough fish, always had enough fish smoked. And that's just the way, you know how colorful Mel could talk, especially when he was talking about the DNR.
Or the National Park Service.
Or the National Park Service, I'm surprised that
What was Mel's interpretation? If you could be Mel right now, how would you explain his view of the park?
I couldn't do it without the language part.
Yeah.
And
I don't.
I think I could sum it up though. In Mel's eyes, you were either a good SOB or you were a bad SOB. One or the other.
In what category would they fall into?
I think they were on the bad side with a big long lingo. I think he was very capable of almost turning, like really when they say there was blue smoke, there was really blue smoke. And this was remarkable on one of our trips there. And all the years that they spent on the water, fishing, herring boats iced down almost to the rails, you remember that?
Oh, you betcha.
Okay. Mel couldn't swim. And during one of these cocktail hours, Mel fell off the dock. Well, that's where we've discovered that he couldn't swim.
He hit his head.
And he hit his head, pretty good knock on the head. Well, anyway, we got him out of the water. And of course, he always wore those wool pants, you know. Went in the house and I told everybody around, don't say one word to him about nothing. We'll just, like nothing happened. So we took the wool pants after he went to bed, dripping wet, rang him out. But me, I took his suspenders. Do you remember that stove he had, Bob, in the cabin? Big fire because we were trying to dry his clothes. I laid the suspenders on top of that stove. And when I picked him up, all the lines from the great stoves were on the suspenders.
The barbecue.
So then the next day, everything was dry. Mel got up and got dressed. And he's pulling on these suspenders, you know, never knew. Walking down there and here they're all burned, you know, they're going to break. Of course they're going to break. Oh, sure, they broke, and he just took them off, threw them in the woods, and that was it.
Yeah.
And I said, I told everybody that was with us, don't say one word to him about what happened last night. You know, you just didn't do that. And because he wouldn't have admitted to it, and if he did, it would have been one of those blue deals, you know. It would have been one of those.
I've threatened to bring John out to the island there. Some night where Jim Edwards, and it'd be fun to have you there, and my dad, and just to tell one night straight, you could talk Mel Erickson stories.
You know, when I think about Jess and when I think about Jess and Jody, that's my nieces, Deb's two girls when they were small, and we would go to the island, you know, and Mel, in his rough way, I mean, he was rough, and there was no doubt about it, you know, and if he's seen those kids on the dock without a life jacket, you know, it would get kind of blue, and he'd swat those kids, and they'd go up the dock, you know, crying a little bit, but they always went back to him. I don't know what it was.
Mel to me always had a twinkle in his eye.
Always, you know.
And no matter what he said, nobody was ever offended by it.
No.
It was like Jack Erickson.
Yeah.
He always had a twinkle. He could be